G'day world, Craig Jenkins from Bendigo Hydroblasting. Been a bit of a while since I've been on the dial. Look at that, I'm a poet and don't know it. Had a fair bit of variety come through the workshop in recent times. Today, a couple of boxes arrived by courier, and I'll give you a look at what we've got. We'll see if we can clean this stuff up and make it look better than new again. I'll just pick up this camera, give you a look in the box there. So what we've got in this box here is a set of SU carbys, 3 carbys for a, I dare say these are probably going on an old Holden. I've got an old manifold here too. I'll give you a look at that in a minute. That's not looking real flash. But these carbys, they're all nice and clean to start with. We'll put this stuff in the hydroblasting cabinet and see if we can put a nice even shine back on those. Right, what do we got here? Yes, here's the manifold. There's probably not a lot I can do with this manifold here. It's got a lot of, it's been chromed before, it's got a lot of flaking chrome on it. That flaking chrome will come off piece of piss, but the stuff that's stuck to it, it'll just dull that off. It's going to probably look a bit ordinary, but anyway, we'll give it a clean, whether the customer takes it in and gets some reverse electroplating done on it to remove that chrome, up to him. Otherwise, give it a coat of paint. And in this box here, what do we got? Oh, yeah, hang on. I'll just go over there and turn on the light. There's the light up there. I don't like using that light. It makes me camera flutter. But in here, we've got a heap of front end parts by the look of things. These have come from a customer that does Valiant restorations. I've got bonnet hinges, and we're going to clean up those wiring loom ends. But this is going on a fairly expensive restoration, these parts. So they want them blasted before they paint them. They don't want a coarse sandblasted finish on them, so we'll do them in the hydroblaster. And for those of you that are new to my channel, this is where all the action happens, all the magic happens. So we've got the carby body in there on the turntable. We've got a nice little rubber mat on that so that we don't get any scratches and scrapes on things. That's the handpiece there. I don't know whether you can see that, but that's about a 1/2 inch nozzle there. We get about 2 litres a second of water and glass slurry coming out of that. Backed up by 80 pound of air behind it. So fair bit happens in here, so we won't put the camera in there. We'll just give it a clean, and I'll give you a look at that bit when it's all washed up. Well, there we go, folks. I'm part way into these carbys. You can see the difference between the ones that have been done and the ones that haven't. Apologies for the lighting. It's a doomy, gloomy day here, so I'm not getting much sunlight in the workshop. And as said before, we got that Triumph engine has shown up. So that's a 69 Triumph Trophy, I believe. Street Scrambler, fairly rare bike. So we'll get into that in a bit and see how we go. And while that was rolling in, so did all this other stuff. So got a heap of CR stuff and RM stuff here. So we'll get into that at some stage as well. That might be for another video. Anyhow, we'll get back to these carbys and finish them off and give you a look at them, and then we'll give that manifold a quick squirt. There we go, folks. Have a look at that lot. That is better than new. Customer will be wrapped with that. You know, even if you are buying these carbys just to flip them, I reckon by blasting these, giving them to me for an hour and a half or so, you would double the value of these carbys if you resold them. Oh, and while I've got you, I blow all these out and get rid of all the glass that I can out of these, but I always recommend to the customer, once they're dry, hit them with air again, and any remaining glass residue that might be in there will fall out, piece of piss. Anyhow, let's move on to this lot. Well, there's that manifold. That's a bit of a fail, that thing. We didn't spend too much time on that. The only way to clean those things that have been chromed and do it properly is electrically clean them and then hydroblast them. After that they come up a treat, but without the electrical cleaning, not worth spending any time on. Anyhow, what we'll do now is we'll spread all these bits here out on the bench and have a look and see what we've got, and give you a look at some before and after blasting on those. Here's all those bits there. Jesus, I've got my work cut out here. What am I going to do with this lot? I think what we'll do with some of these parts is we'll give them a quick dry blast to knock some of that rust off them, and then we'll wet blast them. If I get rid of the rust, it'll stop the water in my hydroblasting machine getting contaminated and turning a yucky brown. But those springs are going to be interesting. I don't know what I'm going to do with those, but anyway, we'll get into it. I'll have a go at one, and we might start with one of these easy bits for a start, and I'll give you a look at one of those side by side when we're done. Well, there we go, a couple of minutes in the dry blaster, knocks all that shit off, so gives me a good starting point. So a couple of minutes in here, knocking all that rust and crap off them, probably saves me 10 minutes and saves the customer money in the hydroblasting side. We'll put it in the hydroblasting booth now and give that a wash. Have a look at that. Doesn't that look all right? I've spoken to the customer about this job, and because it's going on a very, very immaculate restoration, these things had to be spotless. They're going to be painted. And when the customer asks for spotless, spotless is what they get. Righto, let's move on to one of these bits now, and we'll see what we can do with them. Well, there we go. That's that part done. It's come up quite nice as well. Fair bit of work in blasting that, dry blasting and then wet blasting to get that in that condition, but I think the customer's going to be pretty happy with that. Perfect starting point for paint. Well, there's a look at those front end parts. They've come up looking a treat. What we'll do now is we'll have a go at this tie roddy thing. Won't need to dry blast that. We'll just put that straight in the wet blaster. Give it a quick squirt, and then I'll pull it out and show you that one done. Then we've got some wiper assemblies here. We'll have a go at those, and those bonnet springs there. I don't know what we're going to do with those. We've got to expand them somehow so that we clean them properly, but we'll work something out. Anyhow, get onto this tie rod. Well, that tie rod's come up looking a treat. Very sexual, that. And the wiper mechanisms, have a look at those babies. Anyhow, I better come up with a plan on these bonnet springs and get back to you. And while I've got your attention, folks, I'm more than happy to answer any questions about the process I use in prepping these parts for restorations. So any of my subscribers out there, feel free to drop a comment down below or ask a question. And while you're there, you may as well hit that subscribe button. You know you want to. It's free, don't cost a thing. Anyhow, back to these bonnet springs. Well, here's the plan I came up with for these bonnet springs. I've got a piece of 8mm threaded rod and put some old hooks off some spring compressors I had. I probably should have used a bit thicker rod. You can see the woof in that, but I didn't have any. Anyhow, what I've done is I've blasted clean the ends before I put the hooks on, and that's allowed me just to open this spring up a bit so that I can blast in between the coils and clean any shit out of there. And the reason I cleaned the ends up first was so that I could blow it dry, clean it off and blow it dry before I closed up that spring again, so that no chance of rust. But anyway, you can see that one there, that's come up a treat. Gee, we're good at this. Anyhow, I'll get onto this one. Well, we're nearly done here, viewers. Those springs are done. What I'll do now is I'll put this loom in the booth. This is an original, I presume, Valiant wiring loom. Customer wants me to blast the ends. I've done quite a few of them for him before. He said they look nice when they're done, nice and original. Can't get those plugs anymore, so we've got to be a bit careful with these. Anyhow, we'll get into it. And that's the wire and loom there done. All those plastic plugs are intact, thank Christ. Don't like doing this sort of stuff because some of that plastic can get pretty brittle. But anyway, successful outcome. Well, I reckon that's probably going to do us for today, folks, for this video. Thanks for watching. And if you want your parts to look like new again, hit us up on Facebook or hit us up on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe. Anyhow, I hope you've got something for this. Thanks for watching. See you next time.